All right, let's talk about something that's kind of the invisible scaffolding behind one of the biggest decisions you'll ever make. We're talking about real estate ethics. It's the official playbook that's supposed to make sure everything's on the level when you're buying or selling a home. So what's actually in that playbook?
I mean, at the end of the day, it all comes down to this one question, doesn't it? With so much money and emotion on the line, trust isn't just a nice to have, it's everything. So how is that trust actually built? And maybe more importantly, how is it protected? Okay, so first things first, we gotta get one thing straight. There's the law, and then there are ethics. Think of the law as the floor. It's the absolute bare minimum you have to do to not get in trouble. But ethics, that's the ceiling. That's the higher standard. It's about doing what's right, not just what's technically legal. This quote just nails it. Just because you can do something legally doesn't mean you should. And it's right there, in that gap between legal and ethical, that trust is either built up or completely torn down.
So, to make this idea real, the Texas Real Estate Commission came up with 5 core principles. The best way to think about them is as the 5 pillars holding up the entire building of professional trust. Let's walk through them. The first pillar, and honestly, it's the big one, is fidelity. This one word changes everything. It means your agent is a fiduciary. Now, that's a fancy legal term, but what it means is they have to put your interests first, just like a doctor or a lawyer has to. It's a duty of absolute, undivided loyalty. So what does that look like in the real world? Well, it means your interests always come first. Period. The official rules use 2 really powerful words here. They say an agent has to be scrupulous, meaning they have a strict regard for what is right, and meticulous, meaning they pay extreme attention to every single detail.
Next up, we have integrity. And this is where things get interesting. It's not just about what you say, actively telling a lie. That's an act of commission. It's also about what you don't say. Not disclosing something important is an act of omission. And in the world of ethics, silence can be just as bad as a lie.
The third pillar is competency. Look, getting a license isn't the finish line. It's the starting gun. A competent agent has an ongoing duty to know their stuff, to be an expert on the local market, on national trends, and on the kind of property you're buying or selling. It's a promise to never stop learning. And maintaining that competency means agents have to be constantly asking themselves some tough questions. Things like, am I really on top of the latest trends in the industry? And how am I staying informed? Am I just coasting?
Or am I actively reading up, trying to get better at my job every single day? See, competency isn't a state of being. It's a constant, active pursuit.
Pillar number 4 is all about transparency. It's simple. Agents are required to display the specific form, the Consumer Protection Notice, in a place you can't miss it. In their office, on their website. The whole idea is to put power in your hands by telling you exactly who to call if you have a problem.
And the 5th and final pillar is a hard line in the sand. No discriminatory practices. An agent cannot, under any circumstances, do anything that shows a preference based on race, color, religion, sex, disability, or any other protected class. It's an absolute, a non-negotiable.
So, okay, we have these 5 powerful pillars, but a rule isn't much of a rule if no one's there to enforce it, right? So let's meet the guardians who keep watch over the industry. You've basically got 2 main groups, and it's really important to know the difference. First, there's the Texas Real Estate Commission, or TREC. Think of them as the state regulators. They have power over every single person with a real estate license in Texas, and they have the ultimate hammer. They can suspend or revoke a license. Then you have the National Association of Realtors, or NAR. That's a private trade group. They only have power over their own members, the folks who choose to call themselves realtors, and their biggest stick is kicking someone out of the club. So what happens when a rule gets broken? If you feel like an agent has crossed a line, you're not just out of luck. There is a clear, established path for holding them accountable. And this is the key. This line comes directly from that Consumer Protection Notice we just talked about. And yeah, it's in all caps for a reason. It's your right. It's the button you can push to get the whole process of accountability started. And when you file that complaint, it kicks off a very real, very structured process. TREC investigates. They gather information. They talk to everyone involved. There are hearings. And eventually, a final decision is made. And yes, that can include real penalties.
like fines or even taking away an agent's license. Now, Trek can't look at every single complaint at the exact same time, so they have to prioritize. They use a risk-based approach, which basically means they look at how much harm could be done to you, the consumer. The more serious the allegations, the faster it moves to the top of the pile. And for the really urgent stuff, cases where there's an immediate threat to the public, they can move lightning fast. A special panel of 3 commission members can be called together to temporarily suspend a license right away while the full investigation happens. Okay, so let's pull back and look at the big picture. We've talked about pillars, guardians, and complaint processes. But why does all this bureaucracy actually matter to you? It matters because every single piece of this system, from that fancy word, fiduciary, all the way to that complaint form, is designed to do one thing: build a foundation of trust. It creates a safety net. It's a system of accountability that protects you during what can be a really confusing and emotional time. So now you know the code. You know the playbook every agent is supposed to be following. So the next time you step into a real estate deal, you're not just hoping for the best. You know what the standard is. You know what trust is supposed to be built on. So I'll leave you with this. What does that trust really look like to you now?